joined by Janette, manager of the Diocesan Bookshop here at St Martin's House in Leicester. And we're in café number 7, which is just alongside the bookshop if you didn't know. And we've got a special offer going on, which is if you spend over £10 in the shop and take your receipt on that day into the cafe, then you'll get a free hot drink. And it also works the other way. If you spend over £10 in the cafe, bring the receipt into us, we'll give you 10% off whatever you buy in the shop.
Excellent, that's a good incentive. Today we're going to talk about 3 books that will help us to read the Bible and to pray more effectively and regularly on our own. It's pretty easy to read the Bible when we're at church on a Sunday, but when we're at home and on our own, sometimes we don't always know where to start. Jeanette, what books can you recommend to us that might help us to do this in an easier way?
Okay, so I've already mentioned this book, The Fire of the Word, Chris Webb. He's not paying me to promote it. I just love this book because it talks about engaging with God in Scripture. So we're to read as lovers, not theorists. And it's to allow the Bible to actually captivate us both with our minds and our hearts. And he shows us how we can read Scripture afresh as a book infused with the living presence of God. So I love it. I make no apologies for recommending that again.
Excellent. That sounds like a really warm, inspiring, but also accessible book that might just help us to break down the barriers, do you think, as Christians that we sometimes face? So what have you got next for us then?
Okay, so there are always new books coming out. Yes, I'll always go back to Chris's book, but there are always new and exciting books coming out. So this one has caught my eye, and this is one of our manager's specials at the moment, which means I've got £2 off the price for you. It's called How to Eat Bread by Miranda Threlfall Holmes. And she breaks the book down into 3 sections focused around scripture, tradition and reason, which if you're an Anglican you'll know the significance of those 3 are supposed to be the pillars of Anglicanism. So she looks at what scripture says about reading scripture, she looks at what traditionally have been different methods of approaching scripture, and then she looks at reason, so modern interpretations of scripture, liberation theology, that kind of thing. She was always asked as a vicar, what book can I use to help me read the Bible? So this is what she's done. She's written it herself. And it's kind of an in-between book between theological books and your daily reading books. So meaty, but also very easy to read and short chapters. So yeah, and £2 off.
Excellent. I know that's definitely one on my list. And Dr. Miranda, she's a really interesting voice on social media, someone I've been following lately, and I think that she's got a lot of good things to say. So what have you got next?
Okay, so prayer. We've got so many books on prayer, but the book I've picked is Richard Foster's Prayer, because he looks at all the different aspects of prayer. So he'll look at contemplative prayer, he'll look at petitionary prayer, he'll look at unceasing prayer. And so every type of prayer is there. So that's a good introduction. And then if you find one that you particularly enjoy, then I'm sure we'll have on the shelves a more comprehensive book on that particular type of prayer. Because, it's not just the fact that there's one way of praying, and if I can't do it, then I'm no good at praying. There are so many different ways of praying that can be accessible to all of us. So, a really, really good book.
It does sound good. It also sounds really reassuring in its delivery. And I imagine it offers a variety of ways to experiment, therefore, with prayer, does it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it does.
Great. So what else have you got for us on this large pile here?
Yeah, well, I did try and build a pile big enough so you couldn't see me behind it, but I'm nearly there. Yeah, just to reiterate, really, in terms of engaging with the Bible and praying, there are lots of books of daily reading notes. So there are some that come out monthly, and then there are books that actually cover the whole year. So The Bible in 1 Year by Nicky Gumbel, and then at the other end of the theological spectrum, if you like, we've got Richard Raw, A Spring Within Us. So, you can take those, they give you a piece of scripture and some thoughts and just really help you to engage with scripture. We've also got commentaries if you want to do a little bit of study. The For Everyone series by Tom Wright is really popular because, as it says, it's for everyone. So it's pitched at a level that you can engage with. And I think a lot of clergy buy them as well for sermon illustrations. So, read them and see what your clergyman is pinching from those. But, so loads of books.
Brilliant. Really comprehensive selection there. Thank you very much for sharing those with us. And of course, there are many more books about prayer and reading the Bible available in the Christian Resources Bookshop here at St Martin's House in Leicester.